Hello everyone, welcome to Nareen's Life with MS. This is Nareen and it's time for what MS taught me, considering it is Wednesday. And today, you know, as much as I actually had a discussion with a friend who just so happens to be very, very busy. And I realized one thing, that the fact that the earth rotates on its, revolves around its axis once every 23 hours 56 minutes, or maybe it's slowing down. I think I've read reports about that, is not enough, right? For a person with MS, I wish our days were so much longer. I need at least 48 hours to be present in every single day. And part of it is just so I can actually, be able to manage everything that is, that I actually want to do, that I actually think will maybe help me, right? I mean, if you're thinking about it, I spend about an hour and 45 minutes, let's just round it up to 2 hours, to just do yoga. I need to do about the same amount for meditation, but let's say I call it 1 hour, right? So that's 3 hours. Then I'm spending, I want to say, at least an hour and a half to have food. Yeah, about half an hour in the morning, 1 hour in the afternoons. So that's 4.5 hours. Now I've got 19.5 hours. Say I do sleep for 8 hours. That's 11.5 hours. Now, in those 11.5 hours, I have to clean myself. I have to, take a shower. If I'm traveling, travel, work, right? Work usually takes 9 to 10 hours a day. So really, when we add all of that up, I'm already crossing that 24-hour limit. Very much so. I think I'm clocking in at 24.5 hours. And then add to that, apart from the fact that we have 24-hour days, add to that the fact that after each and everything, I need a little bit of a break. I need a little bit of a breather, right? I might as well take a nap after each and everything, because each of these things does take quite a bit of energy. And that is the reason that I actually told my friend that we need days that are much longer than 24 hours, just so we can achieve everything that we have set out to do, right? Because if I'm giving the same amount of care to myself as I do to everything that is required of me, then 24 hours is never enough, right? I don't think it will probably ever be enough at any point in time. So it really boggles my mind how short days actually become once you're actually trying to fit everything possible into a day, right? One thing that I have given up, which is acupuncture, but I really need to go back to it, it's just not possible because there is just so much time that I need to give everything else. And it's one of those things where everything is important, everything needs to be done, everything has a certain requirement, certain time allotment assigned to it. And once you take all of that in, and I very much generalized each and everything, right? I said, okay, fine, I'm at my desk, I'm working on a laptop for, let's say, 9 hours, right? If I'm working on a laptop for 9 hours, that's already shortening my day to 15 hours. Then you take away another 8 hours for sleeping, that's 7 hours left. 7 hours, I'm giving 1.5 hour, 1 hour 45 minutes, so say 2 hours to yoga, 2 hours to meditation, then 1.5 hours to sleeping, to eating, right? Having my meals. That leaves 1.5 hours. And considering that sometimes I actually go to the office, sometimes I every day do have to shower. It just does not, the numbers don't add up. Right? So that is the one realization I came to today, and definitely something that MS taught me, that trying to find that balance in your life. And I know this was a thing that I mentioned a long time back, that there has to be a certain balance that exists. It or at least I will try to find that balance. I'm suddenly coming to the realization that unless there is a way for you know the earth to spin a little slower, just a little bit slower, so that I can get everything done, I would absolutely love it, just so I can actually complete everything that I set myself to do on a daily basis. um, but with all of that said, I do want to know from you, how do you manage your day? How do you somehow get everything, all of the puzzle pieces to fit in such a way that all the requirements are actually met? And you know the saddest thing is that a lot of times, because I'm not able to meet the time requirements for each and every single thing for the day, something gets impacted, and most of the time it's usually my sleep. So it just ends up being one of those things that you know as much as I don't want it to happen, it does happen. And so a lot of times people generally tend to ask, what do I do over the weekends? I sleep, just so I can make up for all of the time that I am cutting my sleep up, so that I can meet the requirements for the day, right? Because honestly, to be able to just function through the day, sometimes it's just not the fact that you know you start one activity, you stop one activity, you start the next activity, right? There is a certain transition phase, right? Transition phase where you are doing something while prepping for the next thing, right? So generally that prep time, or that little bit of time to go from one state to another can really also take so much time that you are eating up some part of your day, right? And sadly, that certain part of the day that you're eating up is, of course, your sleep. So yes, please do share what your thoughts, your insights, your experiences on how I can maybe make my day a little more beneficial to myself, to my health at least, so that I can, maybe see a little bit of an upbeat. I can maybe be a little more upbeat. But with all of that said, this is Narain's Life with MS. I am Narain, and considering we are already on hump day, it's all downhill from here. So here is me wishing you a good night, sweet dreams, and I'll catch you tomorrow. Bye.